When we spoke to you at the end of the summer, I remember you saying to me, you need to find out if Huberdeau is a Kadri guy or a Lindholm guy. Did we see today, I mean, I know you don't want to read too much more into your lines, but you just want to see another look?
I think they've been good on the power play, all of them together. I think it's still a long ways from being exact. So just, you get odd practice where you can see it, and we don't have many. Like starting tomorrow, it's like 8 games and 15 or whatever, so we're not going to get many practices in to look at guys.
Would you like to take a look at them in a game too?
Yeah, you know what? With the way penalties have been lately, there's parts of seconds and then thirds where we've had guys all over the place too. So it's good that they do it once in a while too, in practice.
Your thoughts on how Milan Lucic has played so far this season?
I think he's given us quality minutes. There's a thing called maximizing your skill set, which is really important, and Luch is kind of the epitome of that.
Daryl, I know internally it's always more about chances than it is about goals. Are your chances at 5-on-5 where you need them to be?
Yeah, our chances for are so we do it in 2 weeks, but so we're just finished our 3rd week. Our chances for are up from a season ago, but I think the difference there is finishing and then quality, right? I think what's real is you took 240 goal scorers out of your lineup, you didn't put 240 goal scorers in, which is not expected, right? So you're gonna have to score more with volume and more with plays around the net.
Can lack of finish be traced to lack of chemistry in some cases, or are those two separate?
No, I think it's over. I mean, quite honest, the reason we're all talking about chemistry, right, is because there's new players, right, at the top end. That's the reason everybody's talking about chemistry. So that's a non-factor. That's like, it hasn't bothered Tyler, but also there's finish. There's got to be finish there. You look at the other night, like Ty has 3, you could call them breakaways in the first period, right? You score one more. So, when you talk about that call, that's got nothing to do with that at all. I mean, you look at the start of the 3rd the other day, we have a full 2-minute power play. Well, that's not chemistry. That's just not execution, right? So there's lots of different ways to look at it.
How have you liked the minutes you've gotten from Stone and Zadorov on that pairing?
I guess they've been all right. I think the Buffalo game, and because we were not partnered up very well in that game, and then the Pittsburgh game. You know what? Z's been really good. Quite honest, I think Stoney's still. You keep having to reinforce his checking game and his sticks and his angles, things like that, which should be in place. But I think it's something he has to be consistent with.
What's been your assessment of what you've got from Brett Ritchie so far?
I think Brett does what you ask him to do, right? Plays a role, and he's got to give us those 8 to 10 quality minutes. He's got to be a physical player, and he's got to be a responsible player. And he's got to be very consistent with it. When those minutes go down, that means he's not sticking to what the fundamentals of his game are.
What is the difference between if you put Huberdeau with Kadri versus Huberdeau with Lindholm? Do you have any idea what the difference would be?
Lefty, righty. Be the big one.
And what do you need to see more from Huberdeau? We know that you want more shots from him, but anything else that he could be doing?
Yeah, you know what? Jonathan's a really good 200-foot player. I think there's been way too much talk about goals and assists and points and last year and all that. It's so different, right? That you just found and when that happens, then it's just like, okay, I gotta score more. I gotta get. That's not. If he does everything else, he's a good player. If he does everything else, then that's the result. But if you don't do everything else, you don't get the result. So instead of putting pressure on yourself to score or make that play, just play the game.
So you think that Huberdeau's process?
That's what I said. Yes. It's not a problem. That's your problem. I just told you what, there isn't a problem.
Darryl, if Adam Rajitska gets a chance to play tomorrow or this week, what do you want to see from him?
Some energy, some emotion, some possession, some zone time, some shot volume, some face-off wins, some contact. What else? Get it, Adam? Did you get it, Adam?
How about Mackenzie Weegar? I think that many people might have thought, again, they thought maybe he would have got more points by now or been more involved in the power play. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, it's not about that. You know what, you guys, this is a challenging thing for me because this is everything that you guys talk about. It's exactly what I talked about when I came here. It was about Johnny and Monty and Matthew and Gio, and that's all. That's the same thing again. And we had to get totally away from that, and we have to get totally away from it again. What have I seen weeks? See a guy that's adjusting to play on a team that's not a run and gun team that couldn't hold up in the playoffs. He's got to learn. He's learning to adjust. He's a kid that's a really, really good. He gets by and being a great competitor, right? That's what he is. He's a great competitor. So the next part of that is before there's freedom, there has to be structure, right? So the structure that's what we're feeding him is structure, and then the freedom's there. It's not about points or anything like that. He's going to get his points. He gets his points. It's not a big deal.
Darryl, is that all across the board, the structure thing, or are you happy with where that's at right now?
What do you mean all across the board?
Just like throughout the lineup, like everybody, just the structure of your team, not individual baseball.
Yeah, I think it's, you know what, it's a game of mistakes. Everybody thinks it's a mistake-free game. It's not. It's a team that makes one less. I mean, just think we just played 2 games that were 3-2 and 4-1, and it was games of both sides was game mistakes. The teams that makes fewest, right? And then the team that's got the guys that can take advantage of the mistakes. So.
Darryl, Jeremy Freeborn with Calgary Hockey Magazine. We're just doing a profile on Elias Lindholm. Maybe talk a little bit about how pleased you have been with his overall play from an offensive and defensive mindset, not just this year, but last year as well.
Yeah, I think Lindy's, just a straight overview, Lindy's a really good two-way player and recognized around the league for that. And he had a career year last year because of numbers, but he had a career year because of his puck possession and zone time and shot volume, the things that we talk about, right? So that's what he is. He's a great penalty killer. He's a great face-off guy. He gets his wingers out of trouble a lot. He's a transporter of the puck. That's what he has to do to be effective.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any Halloween plans, Darryl?
Pardon?
Any Halloween plans?
What floor am I on? It says 8, but I don't think I'm that high up. But so I don't think kids can get my security. So I wish I could. Fun time of year. Yeah.
What would you go dressed as if you were trick-or-treating?
I can't remember the last time I went as a probably player Halloween party. Best one though is players Halloween party that I can think of. I didn't go, but Dennis Savard dressed up as our coach, and it was Orville Tessier. So that's when the coaches wear the fedora and a whistle. And anyways, he dressed up it was a good one.
Eric has a dinosaur costume you can borrow if you'd like.
Yeah. Try it on. Thanks, Darryl.
Actually, I went with Eric the other night when we did the roast, and I was going to say it, but I didn't because I was going to say it was a Halloween costume party we were going to, and the first person I saw was dressed up like Brian Burke.